Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to make this DIY $8 or less Americana wreath with rags. We're going to need the 14-inch wreath form from the Dollar Tree. They also sell one at Walmart too if you guys don't have a Dollar Tree by you. And at Walmart I got these 97-cent fat quarters with Americana themed prints on them. Or you can use red, blue, and white bandanas if you want. These two are from the Dollar Tree. They also sell white. You need a scissor, and if you want to add a bow at the end, go ahead and pick your ribbon for your bow. So what I have here is marked on my board a 5-inch measurement that I'm just going to use. Because you need it a lot, because you have to cut a lot of strips, I went ahead and I wrote it right on my board. I actually used 5 inches for a lot of different crafts, so that's why it worked out so good for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip at 5 inches, and I'm really just going to rip. I think that the ripped fabric really does add to the old world country feel of this wreath. Okay, and this is the 4th or 5th in the series. I think it's the 4th in the series of American flag wreaths or Americana inspired wreaths. And then you're just going to randomly cut strips. Okay, so here I'm just showing you an example because I wanted to have a slowed down version of ways to tie on. So what I've done here is I'm showing you that you could just tie it around it like a knot. And if you have seen my Valentine's Day rag wreath, then that's the method I used for that one. But in this one, I wanted to show you guys something just a little bit different. So we're going to fold the piece of fabric in half. And the reason I opted to do this particular knot, which I'm going to fix here in a second because I actually went in the wrong direction, was because this was a one-sided fabric, not a double-sided fabric. Like basically the print didn't come through. So what I've done is I folded it in half. I've inserted from the inside to the outside and then put my fingers through the loop and grabbed the 2 pieces of tail and pulled it through. Okay, and I'm going to repeat that many times coming up, but I just wanted to show you guys a slowed down version of how we get the piece of fabric onto the wreath. Okay, so if you saw there, that's when I just went ahead and I snipped a bunch of random widths. You don't want anything really less than a 1/2 inch, and you really don't want anything more than 1 inch. But a varied width actually gives also an added beauty to this wreath. Okay, so you see I'm just randomly cutting. This is the 5-inch wide piece that we ripped, and I'm going in the opposite direction to cut random pieces of 5-inch long fabric. Okay. And you see a pull, and the biggest headache with this, and it's not even a huge headache, is that the strings at the end. What I did notice as I was getting towards the end, if I pulled a little harder, I was able to just grab all of the ends of string and pull them off, and then just had to deal with occasionally a random string from here and there. Okay, I do wish there was some upcycle project for random strings. So if you guys have anything, just leave me in the comments down below. Okay. So you can see I'm just picking them off, but honestly, that's me and my particularities. You don't have to pick them off. If they don't bother you, just leave them. They just add to that, again, that aged country look. Originally, this is inspired by what would be made with scraps. So that's why I did this. So what I have is I've got 2 blue fabrics. This one here with the stripe, with the stars, excuse me. And then I have a blue fabric that has like firework bursts on it. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually tie on about 1/3 of the wreath is going to be blue, and the other 2/3 of the wreath I'm going to alternate between the red and white stripe and the 4th of July fabric. Okay. So I'm trying to make it look flag-like, but of course that is totally not necessary. You can make them completely random. You can tie all the blue ones on the outside and all of the white ones in the 2nd ring and all of the red ones on the 3rd and 4th ring. So it's totally up to you guys. You know, again, design's up to you. But this is how we're doing it today. So here's that other 2nd blue fabric. So I'm going to show you again, just going to cut a 5-inch strip and rip, and then holding it in the opposite direction that I just ripped it and cut it, we're just going to randomly slice up tiny little pieces. And the reason we slice up tiny little pieces, it just makes it super easy to rip. So if you see, I'm just using the inside joint of the scissor. It's usually the sharpest because we tend to cut from the middle to the tip of the scissor most often. So All right, and then just rip away. And you're gonna repeat this. I ended up using 2 fat quarters of blue, 2 fat quarters, actually it was like 1.5 fat quarters of the 2 white-ish type fabrics, and 1.5 fat quarters of the red and white striped fabric, okay? And the pattern I ended up creating for the stripes of fabric was, per fabric, was 4 for the inner ring, 5 for the next 3, and occasionally I throw a 6th on the outer ring. I just want to let you guys know that if you decide to go with the handkerchief route, then there's a couple of things you need to know. First of all, a fat quarter is usually 1/4 of a yard of fabric, which will be 18 inches by 20, 22, or 18, depending on the width of the different fabrics. But the minimum I've ever seen is 18 by 18. And handkerchiefs can be anywhere from 16 by 16 to 20 by 20, depends on where you get them. So just keep that in mind. If I needed 1.5 fat quarters of white and 1.5 fat quarters of red and 2 fat quarters of blue, keep that in mind when you go ahead and buy your handkerchiefs, okay? Like I said in the beginning, the blue and red handkerchiefs that I have in the 2-pack were the ones that they used to carry at the Dollar Tree regularly. Now they sell red, white, and blue ones separate. So keep that in mind for money-wise also. And the last piece of advice I'm going to give you about using the handkerchiefs is handkerchiefs are generally hemmed. So when it comes to ripping the fabric, you may have to cut off the hem real close to the hem, or just trim each piece at the bottom when you get to it, okay? So we're getting ready to tie on, and if you see here, I have a piece that didn't quite get ripped, or if there's one that ends up being a little too wide, you can always go back and rip it in half, okay, and trim it up. But I wanted to show you once again, oh, I forgot how to do it. Yeah, I had to remind myself. It's better to go from the inside out. That helps the fabric lay towards the outside. If that Windsor knot type triangle that the fabric forms is on top of the fabric, if that makes sense, when the fabric is going towards the outside. So I just wanted to show you that I literally just alternated a star and a fireworks, and a star and a fireworks. And I did this, like I said, throughout the first third of the wreath, which ended up being about 1.5 sections. And then I alternated the red and white stripes and the Americana 4th of July type fabrics, okay?
Okay, so now it's all done. Ooh, got a piece up there. So here's a little trick. You turn it over. You see how these are all sticking out. You just stick your fingers between the rows and push all of the little pieces between so they come out the other side. Okay. See that? Okay, so here's a perfect example. See these? I like this. So if you just push them, put your fingers between the rows, they all push to the outside. And once you have them all pushed towards the outside, just like mostly done, you turn it over, and you can either just keep it straight fluffed out, or you can brush it all back. It's really the look that you want to go for, okay? So there it is.
Hopefully you could see here I opted not to use a bow, but you could if you wanted to. That's what I was suggesting the burlap for. So here it is finished, and just a close-up look of how it looks with the 2 different fabrics. And again, it's not exactly supposed to look like an American flag. If you do want that look, just get some solid red and solid white and solid blue fabrics, and you can tie on just like that. Or it looks really nice with the red, white, and blue handkerchiefs as well that you can get at the Dollar Tree. I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'm always there to answer any questions you have. And if you know anybody who liked this video, don't forget to share with friends and family. And if you haven't yet, click the subscribe button and the little notification bell, and it'll let you know when I've uploaded a new video. So, as always, you take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye!